In this video, we're looking at a blue shimmering ink by Atramentis Indian Blue Bronze. As always, there's timestamps down below so you can skip around, but if you've got the time, it really does help me out for you to check out this entire video. Also, down in the description is a link to the blue ink playlist, so if you'd prefer to choose a different blue ink, you can check that out. I'm Adam, I'm an ink guy. The first writing sample is done on 90 GSM Clairfontaine. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. If you've watched any of these previous ones, you know I have to hold this paper at an angle because there's a ridiculous amount of shimmer going on and it becomes a little harder to read. I'm going to talk about the performance of this as a general. In general, we have no feather spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. Tons of glittery action going on here. The extra fine dries in 10 seconds, the medium in 16 seconds. Wow, that's a lot of shimmer. Really, just disappears. To make sure there's a range of experience with this ink, all the writing samples are done with a Jinhao 159 with a 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a medium, and a Jinhao X750 with an extra fine. Then a Noodler's Naponsit with a music nib was inked up, used for a day, and used to take the notes for this video. Let's take a look at 52 GSM Tomoe River. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. Lots of glittery action. Okay, all of them, we still have no bleeding, no feather spread, halo sheen, no shading. The glitter really does make it jump off the page. The extra fine took 17 seconds to dry. The medium took 29 seconds to dry. The smear test says you could not recover it if you smeared while you were writing. I think this is a fairly decent blue that I wish they weren't covering up so much. I agree with Vita. There's a lot to learn by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. A line of ink is put down and then it's put in the water for 10 to 15 seconds. And you really do see how much glitter there is across the bottom. It's all holding in place and that blue is pushing its way up and really gathering at the top. The one on the right is let dry for 10 minutes and this was rather interesting because all around, it really made that glitter pop out. And I wish the writing looked more like this, where you got to see the blue and the glitter, not the glitter. Because that blue around it really made it look good. And then you see where it pushes up, and you see that this is a true prime blue ink. I do think you could see some resistance, though. The next writing sample is done on 80 GSM Rhodia dot pad. We have no bleeding, no ghosting, holding at an angle so that you can actually see it. All of them we wind up with no feather spread, halo sheen, no real shading. The extra fine took 11 seconds to dry. The medium took 18 seconds to dry. Once again, I really do think we're covering a very nice blue here with too much glitter. I would have really liked to see it come out more like that chromatography. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on a page and how hard it may be to clean from your pen. The smear is allowed to dry for 3 days before testing it. Once again in this picture you see how golden bronze this is. This is not the golden one, this is the bronze one. You see how overpowering that shimmer really is. And it's difficult to photograph, so I'm going to apologize for the photo of all glitter inks that I really deal with for that. Looking at the highlighter, I would not use this in a note-taking situation, not because it's a glittery ink, but because it winds up completely blown out and unreadable. Water is lifting some of those dark tones, but leaving a lot of this behind. Same with pen flush. It's really not getting rid of all of the ink, not off the paper. And the 1/3 bleach solution is removing most of it, but what is that brown tone is not glitter that's left behind. That's discoloration of the paper. The good news for everybody is it only took water to get this out of my pen. The next writing sample is done on original Crown Mills paper. We have no bleeding, no ghosting, holding at an angle so that it actually can be read. In general, we have no feathering spread, halo sheen, no shading. The extra fine took 9 seconds to dry and the medium took 14. Now, the shimmer did not come through as strong on this paper, and I think it's because it's a laid paper. It's very textured in how it dries, so that sort of eats up some of the glitter, which I think does make it look a bit better. Let's see if we can get some of this. Yeah, see, some of the glitter comes through if you look through, and some of it doesn't. I think it looks a bit nicer here. For the inks tested, the average viscosity was 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. The Atramentis Indian Blue Bronze has a viscosity of 3.04, making it very dry and likely more having flow problems, really because of the particles. If you're interested in how all that viscosity stuff is done, there's a video linked down in the description. Let's take a look at the next writing sample done on white lines paper. Now, not being fountain pen friendly paper, it really did perform incredibly well. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. I can lay this down because you can see a great deal of it. It's much more absorbent paper. So while this all looks much, I'm going to say, brighter than this, it's just about how the light is hitting it. All of them have no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade. They're really doing very well here, and I think it's controlling the amount of glitter that's showing through much better. The extra fine took 6 seconds to dry. The medium took 10. The scrubby shows no color variation because it's all hidden by the glitter. And the smear test, you could recover it if you smeared while you were writing. For the inks tested, the average dry time was 17 seconds, and the realm of normal was 13 to 21 seconds. The Atramentis Indian Blue Bronze has an average dry time of 17 seconds, making it not just normal, but average. The last writing sample was done on Franklin Christoph paper. We have no bleeding and no ghosting. Now, when it's performing a bit better on some of these more absorbent papers, then it made me interested in trying this because it is a more absorbent paper, and we can really see here, because of the angle of the light, the difference between when we get a lot of light on it and just a little bit less. This is just a little bit more direct, and I know it sounds really funny because it's so close together, but it's the slightest difference of how my overhead light is hitting it. All of these have no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade. The extra fine took 7 seconds to dry. The medium took 10. And again, on more absorbent paper, I actually think it looks a little bit better because I think it's controlling some of the shimmer where you get some, not all, shimmer. The smear test says you could recover it if you smeared while you were writing. Instead of finding inks that look like the Atramentis Indian Blue Bronze, I'd prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I went with a nice red to go with the blue that's here, and I chose Diamine's Wild Strawberry. Now, if you'd prefer a different complement color, then down in the description are links to all of those playlists. So what do I think of the Atramentis Indian Blue Bronze? These shimmer inks feel lazy, and by that I mean that there's an Indian Blue Bronze, Indian Blue Silver, Indian Blue Gold, and Indian Blue Copper. Let's release the same ink 4 times. The different shimmer makes that much of a difference. Also, I can't see the blue through the sparkles. I can see, for those that like shimmer, how these inks are pay dirt. Just too much shimmer here. So what nib and pen will give the best writing experience with this ink? Super wet and super broad. I hope you got something out of this video, and in the next video we're going to take a look at KWZ's Azure number 3.